I never thought life could collapse in a single night. One moment, I was a wife waiting for my husband to come home. The next, I was a widow standing over his coffin. Everyone told me to stay strong, to move on, to accept that death takes the ones we love. But deep inside, something didn't feel right. His body looked too still, too staged, too unreal. They buried him. They cried. I screamed. And yet, weeks later, I saw him. Alive, breathing, laughing, holding another woman's hand. But that was only the beginning. Because what I thought was a story of love and betrayal turned out to be a maze of secrets, greed, and lies so deep, it nearly destroyed me. This is my story. It began 5 years ago in a small but warm home that I thought was filled with love. My husband, Daniel, was the kind of man who could charm anyone. He smiled with his whole face, he hugged like he meant it, and he made promises that sounded unbreakable. I believed every single one. We were not rich, but we were happy. Or at least I thought we were. He worked long hours at a company owned by his wealthy uncle. Everyone in his family looked down on me because I wasn't from money. His mother always whispered that Daniel could do better. His sister barely acknowledged me at family dinners. And his uncle, he stared at me with the coldness of a man who hated seeing someone beneath his family enter their bloodline. Still, I thought Daniel loved me enough to fight for us. Until the night everything ended. He didn't come home. The police said it was a car crash. They showed me burned wreckage and a body too disfigured to recognize. They said it was him. They gave me his wedding ring, bent and blackened, as proof. I collapsed with it in my hands, screaming his name into the night. For weeks, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't eat. I was drowning in grief. Every corner of our home reminded me of him. His jacket still on the chair, his cologne still in the air, his toothbrush still in the bathroom. And then, one rainy afternoon as I walked through the marketplace, I froze. Because standing there, clear as day, was Daniel, my husband, alive. Not scarred, not limping, not dead. Alive. And worse, he wasn't alone. He was holding another woman's hand, pulling her close, smiling the same smile he used to give me. She leaned her head against his shoulder as if she had always belonged there. My heart didn't just break. It shattered. I thought he had died. I thought fate had stolen him. But the truth was far crueler. He had chosen to leave. My knees almost gave out when I saw him. I gripped the edge of a wooden stall just to keep standing. My hands trembled, my throat went dry, and for a second, I thought maybe I was hallucinating from grief. But no, it was him, Daniel. The way he tilted his head when he laughed, the little scar above his eyebrow from when he fell as a kid, the way he held her hand, his thumb brushing against her skin. It was all there. I couldn't breathe. I wanted to scream his name, to run up to him, to claw the truth out of his mouth. But something in me froze. If he had faked his death, if he had staged everything, why? And who was she? I stumbled away before they could see me. My chest ached like my heart was being torn apart a second time. That night, I locked myself in the bedroom. I clutched his burnt wedding ring, staring at it through blurred tears. Why, Daniel? Why would you do this to me? I whispered into the empty room. But the walls gave me no answer. The next day, I followed him. I couldn't stop myself. I needed to know where he went, who she was, why he was alive while I had been left to rot in grief. They walked through the streets like a couple who had been together forever. He bought her flowers, she kissed his cheek. And when they reached their destination, my stomach dropped. It wasn't a hotel. It wasn't a secret hideout. It was a house, a home, a place filled with photographs of him, of her, of a little boy who looked like he could be their son. My heart stopped. He didn't just leave me. He replaced me. I wanted to confront him right there, to storm into that house and demand answers, but my body wouldn't move. My rage turned into nausea. I stumbled back, pressing my hand over my mouth, afraid I'd vomit on the street. How long had this been going on? Did he ever love me, or was I just a placeholder until he built this other life? I returned home shattered and shaking. That night, I found something strange. An envelope. It was hidden behind one of his old jackets. The handwriting on it was his, but the message inside made my blood run cold. If anything happens to me, don't trust them. Not my uncle, not my sister, and especially not her. I had no choice. I'll explain everything soon. No choice? What did that mean? Who was her? The woman he was living with now? Or someone else? Suddenly, my grief twisted into suspicion. Maybe this wasn't just betrayal. Maybe there was more to the story. But before I could find out, someone knocked on my door. It was his sister, the same sister who never liked me. She stood there, her lips pressed tight, her eyes colder than winter. You should move on, she said without even greeting me. Daniel is gone. Stop clinging to the past. Sell this house, take the money, leave. Her words weren't advice. They were an order. And in that moment, I realized she knew something. Something she didn't want me to uncover. I didn't sleep that night. Her words haunted me. Sell this house, take the money, leave. Why was she so desperate to push me out? Why did she want me gone so badly? I sat in the dark living room, staring at the shadows dancing on the walls. Every creak of the house felt like a whisper. Every gust of wind against the windows felt like a warning. That envelope, Daniel's handwriting, burned in my hands. Don't trust them. I had no choice. What had he gotten himself into? The next morning, I decided I couldn't live in confusion anymore. I went back to that house, the house where Daniel lived with her. This time, I didn't just watch from outside. I followed him. He left the house early, kissing her cheek before heading down the street. My pulse raced as I trailed him through alleys and markets. He moved cautiously, glancing over his shoulder, almost like he knew someone was watching. He finally entered a building, a small, run-down cafe. I waited outside, peering through the dusty glass, and what I saw made my blood run cold. Daniel wasn't alone. He was sitting across from his uncle, the very man who had delivered me the news of his death. I pressed closer, heart pounding in my ears, straining to hear. Don't tell her, Daniel whispered, his voice low, urgent. His uncle leaned forward. Keep it that way. If she finds out the truth, everything falls apart. Do you understand? Daniel nodded, his face tense. I stumbled back, gasping for breath. Me! They were talking about me. What truth? What were they hiding from me? And why did Daniel look so afraid? I couldn't stop myself. The moment Daniel stepped out of the cafe, I grabbed his arm. Daniel! His eyes widened in shock. He froze like he was staring at a ghost. You shouldn't be here, he stammered, his voice shaking. I gripped his sleeve, tears streaming down my face. Why, Daniel? Why did you let me bury you? Why did you let me drown in grief while you were out here alive? With her? With them? He glanced around frantically, pulling me into a dark alley. His hands trembled as they cupped my face. I never wanted this, he whispered. I never wanted to hurt you. Then why? I begged. Tell me the truth. His eyes filled with tears, but before he could speak, a shadow fell over us. His uncle. He snapped, grabbing Daniel's arm and yanking him back. She's not part of this. She never was. Daniel looked at me, his lips parting like he wanted to say more. But his uncle's grip tightened, dragging him away. I ran after him, screaming his name, but the street swallowed him, the crowd pulling us apart until he was gone. Again. That night, I sat on the floor, my chest hollow, my hands shaking around the letter he left behind. Pieces of the puzzle scattered in my mind. His fake death, the envelope, the secret meetings, the woman, the child. None of it made sense. Until I found the second letter. It was hidden inside a book Daniel used to read. The pages smelled like him, and tucked between chapter 12 and 13 was an envelope marked only with my name. I tore it open, desperate, trembling, and inside, the truth. I never stopped loving you. They forced me to leave. If I didn't, they would have killed you. The car, the fire, the funeral, it was all a trap, staged to protect you. Please forgive me. Please understand. I'm living a lie to keep you safe. My heart pounded so loudly, I thought it might burst out of my chest. He wasn't betraying me. He was protecting me. But from who? I needed answers. The next morning, I went back to the cafe, hoping to catch him again. Instead, I found her, the woman. She was sitting by the window, sipping coffee, her little boy drawing on napkins beside her. I hesitated, then walked over. Can we talk? I asked, my voice breaking. She looked up at me, her eyes widening. And in that moment, I realized she wasn't my enemy. She was afraid. Her hands trembled as she clutched her cup. You shouldn't be here, she whispered. If they see us talking, who? I demanded. She glanced around nervously. His uncle, his family, they're not who you think they are. Before I could press further, the little boy tugged at her sleeve. She gave me a look of pity, of sorrow. Daniel loves you, she whispered quickly, but if you want to live, stay away. And just like that, she grabbed her son and left, leaving me with more questions than answers. Days turned into weeks. I barely ate, barely slept, consumed by the need for truth. And then one night, I heard a noise outside my house. I peeked through the curtains. Daniel, standing in the shadows, looking broken, desperate. I rushed out and he pulled me into his arms, holding me tighter than ever before. I can't keep doing this, he whispered against my hair. I can't keep pretending you don't exist. I need you to know everything. He pulled me inside, locking the door. His face was pale, his eyes hollow with secrets. And finally, he told me. His family, his uncle, his sister, even his parents were involved in something dark, illegal, dangerous. He had discovered their secrets, and when they realized they knew too much, they threatened to kill me. The only way to protect me was to disappear, to die. The woman I saw him with, she wasn't his lover. She was his cousin's widow, pulled into the same web of lies, forced to act as part of his new life. The child wasn't his. It was all a cover story. He faked his death to protect me, but in doing so, he broke me. Tears poured down my face as I listened. Daniel, I whispered, you should have trusted me. We could have faced it together. He shook his head. If you had known, you'd be dead. I couldn't risk it. Before I could answer, a crash echoed outside. The window shattered. His uncle stormed in, rage twisting his face. Behind him, his sister, her eyes blazing with hatred. You couldn't stay away, could you? His uncle spat. Now she pays the price. Everything happened in seconds. Daniel shoved me behind him, shielding me. His uncle lunged forward. A struggle erupted, shouts, fists, glass shattering. I screamed, begging them to stop. And then, a gunshot. The sound split the night in half. Daniel collapsed into my arms. His blood stained my hands warm and heavy. His eyes searched mine, pain and love mingling in his last breath. I'm sorry. I couldn't save us both, he whispered. And then he was gone. Truly gone. Not a fake death, not a cover story. This time, forever. His uncle fled before the police arrived. His sister disappeared into the night. And I was left kneeling in the ruins of my home, holding the man I had buried twice, once in a coffin and once in my arms. Now, years later, I tell this story not as a widow, not as a victim, but as a woman who learned the cruelest truth. Betrayal doesn't always come in the form of infidelity. Sometimes it comes wrapped in secrets, in lies, in protection that feels like abandonment. Daniel died a hero, but he lived a coward. And I live with the graveyard of lies he left behind.